successful the first time, I'm constantly refreshing this shit. I'm trying to get the shit. I'm like, what the hell? Oh
I
man,
don't know.
I was like, oh my god, you got to be kidding me.
I
I was like,
don't know. So I don't even remember what you were saying when we to you.
yeah, we was talking about how you said we had to start this whole thing over, and the main topic was,
No.
are we not?
No, I'm saying what were you talking about towards the end in
Oh,
relation to the topic?
oh, what I was saying was that oh, I was saying that's my point. I mean, I remember you said, why would a man be with a woman that don't understand him?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And you was like, if that woman, you was like, if that woman was not willing to understand. And see, that was my point. That was where I was trying to get to. If okay, I'm gonna put it like this: if you have a person, or if you're with somebody that's trying to understand you, right? That's trying. Either they understand you, or if for me, it's like this: if you're trying to understand me, then I would work with you. But I feel like if the person's not even trying to understand, to me, that's a problem. And I feel like if that person is not, or is not trying to understand you, period, it's going to be a problem within the relationship, because there's always going to be clash that's going to become between you and the other person.
But I'm saying if you think like that, if that's how you think, right?
Hmm.
And you won't choose a woman who you know don't understand you, then how did you end up in a relationship with a woman that wasn't submissive to you? Because you said in order to uh, be submissive, you got to have understanding and love
Right.
first.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
how did you get in relationships with women who weren't submissive to you if you went through the process of trying to figure out whether they understand you or not, and you figured out whether they did or not, and still ended up with a woman that wasn't submissive? Is what I'm trying to figure out.
Right. 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 There we go. Okay. The first two relationships. Okay. The first two relationships I learned from those, but I think that one, because that relationship I'm talking about was like the longest relationship I've ever been in, was a year and some change.
Okay.
Me and this person, we've talked for like, before we got into a relationship, we had talked for like 3 or 4 years prior
Hmm.
to that, but it was kind of like long distance, but we lived in the same state. Um, but when I got into that relationship, and when I went through the stuff I went through in that relationship, I really learned a lot. I've really learned a lot out of that relationship. Out of all the other relationships I've been in, that's the relationship I've really learned the most. Because, the more and more you give, the more and more that person's gonna take. If you
Okay,
understand.
so now after you learn the lesson
Yeah.
that you couldn't get submission out of a woman that doesn't understand you, you never got in that situation again. So
That's
you
ex-
do.
that's
Okay, so
exactly
you
my
do
point.
understand that the reason why you ended up with a woman that wasn't submissive is because you chose that. Because you chose a woman who didn't understand you.
Well, I didn't realize that until later down the line in the relationship. I didn't realize that until later down in the line, that I was with somebody that didn't understand me. You say, okay,
But that's not what I'm asking you.
right,
fuck that relationship. That relationship over, right? So
right,
after that, you never was with another woman who wasn't submissive
right,
because you learned the lesson. You
right,
learned the lesson.
right,
But what I'm saying is you put yourself in a position, like, here's the thing. When I tell men I've been hurt, right? A lot of people, because I'm a woman, they like, well, you need to take accountability for making poor choices in men, right?
right.
But men don't take accountability themselves when they make poor choices in women. They just say, oh, black women aren't submissive. They don't realize that there are women of all colors out there who could be misunderstanding it.
That's
You
that's
just have to, yeah, you just have to be, you just have to be selective. Like a lot people will show you who they are if you wait long enough. They'll show you. And I don't mean from a distance. I don't mean just being a friend. I mean if you consistently talking to them on a regular and y'all seriously dating each other or just, seeing each other a lot, a person is going to show you who they are, especially a woman. And you're going to be able to tell whether she has a nasty attitude, whether she is submissive or not, whether she's understanding or not. And she's going to show you that. But you got to take the time to chill out first because a lot of people don't do that. They see somebody they like, especially men. They see a woman they like, they think she's beautiful, they want to hit that. And if she likes him in return, she going to let him hit. Okay? And then they speed through this relationship, and end up married in 28 days and then end up divorced 3 months later. You know what I'm saying? So I think to me, it sounds like you have a generalization in relation to women. Like you think women, from the beginning, from the first, live stream we did just a minute ago before it got cut off, it sounds like you generalize women in a way to where none of us bring anything to the table at all unless it's related to submission. So I asked you, and you still haven't answered. I asked you, what else could a woman bring to the table outside of submission that will
yes,
make you feel
yes,
like she's bringing
right.
something to the table?
Right. Okay, that's what I forgot to answer because I knew I was forgetting something, but
Oh,
I
okay.
just couldn't pinpoint what it was. Because I'm, it's not like I'm ignoring your question. It's because I forgot. Because I knew some, I knew in my mind I was forgetting something. Okay, but to answer your question, what I said, I was gonna say support. Support is one of the main. A lot of women do not understand how important support is to us men.
Hmm.
Under support is really huge. It's really huge for us. It's especially for me. She has to be very supportive. I feel like that's another thing that women can bring to the table is them being supportive. I see it as okay, if you want me to be supportive of you, then you have to return the favor and be supportive of me in what I want to do. You see what I'm saying?
Okay, so we got submission, we got support. Those are the two things that women can bring to the table that they generally don't. What else? You said understanding, which is kind of like a subsidiary of submission, and support. So what else?
Well, then comes love. Then comes the love. Then comes the care. Then comes the nurturing. You see what I'm
Okay,
saying?
so let me tell you something about women. Love, care, and nurturing is built in us if we have children, or just it's just built in us from the time we're children. You know what I'm saying? Like they automatically make us that. That's why a lot of girls play with baby dolls. It's almost like it's built in everything we watch. We learn from the time we're born how to be loving, caring, and nurturing. So those are three things that you're always gonna have as a man if you're dealing with a woman, because that comes with us. So you have submission, you have support. These are the things that women bring to the table: submission, support, love, care, nurturing. Anything else?
I was gonna say, you know, well, the woman is gonna have, 9 times out of 10, they're usually gonna have their dreams and goals and aspirations and things that they want to do. But I also wanted to say there are some men like myself who are natural nurturers in a sense. Who are
Men.
not, yes, there are some. I consider myself as one of those men, which was why which was one of the main reasons why I ended up attracting the women that I was getting because of me having that nurturing nature, that nurturing spirit. Because mind you, I'm a Cancer,
Okay.
so it's in me. You know what I'm saying? No matter how much I try to avoid it or how much I try to get away from it, it's in me. You see
Why
what I'm
would you try to get away from caring?
no, 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 no. But you have some people that will try to do that. They will try to get away from that nurturing nature. And I'm also very intuitive type of person. So I realized that one of the main reasons why I have attracted the women that I've attracted is because I've had that. Because when you're a nurturer, I've learned that you're going to end up getting all types of people. But you have to realize within yourself where that error is or what that trial and error is. And then once you figure it out, then you try to fix it. And that's what I was trying to explain earlier, but I didn't get a chance to explain it because we were having such problems from the last video chat we was trying to do. But I
I don't think I don't think that you nurturing is what's attracting those type of women to you.
mhm,
I just think that finding a woman, a decent woman, a good woman, or even a good man can be difficult. To one that matches you specifically. Like everybody is like their own unique, you know, DNA binary code. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And
yeah,
we all have different things that we want inside of a relationship or what we require in a partner. So
right,
we're not gonna fit with everyone.
right,
So if you keep meeting a whole bunch of women who are nothing like what you need in your life, I don't think it's because you're nurturing. I think a man being nurturing or even a woman being nurturing or whatever the positive characteristics that you have as a human being, those things are things that you need to put to the forefront because the person that um, is supposed to be for you will need those things. So you
right.
shouldn't try to get rid of those things or
Oh no,
dim
no,
down
no,
those
no, no, no,
things.
no, no, no. I'm not saying don't get rid of those things. I'm just saying be more careful with it. That's all I'm saying.
Careful with the how.
Because not everybody is worthy of you. Not
But you,
everybody.
but you, but you figure that out during the friendship part. Like usually, if you be friends with somebody long enough, you figure out
Right.
what they shit is. Like for me, it does not take long at all with guys. Cause see, now, my radar when I was younger,
Well,
my
that's how
radar
I
used to
am
be
now.
so screwed up. Yeah, now I'm like, I can tell early, and I call a man out on it, and men hate that I do that
Oh
because
yeah,
I
same
react
thing with women. Uh-huh.
quickly.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, people
I don't like
hate
that
doing
shit.
that because you know why? This is what I say too. People love. Okay, I specifically speak for the black community. Okay, the problem is we as black people we love and devour dysfunction. We love and devour dysfunctional lifestyles, and we love and devour dysfunctional relationships. We think dysfunction is normal when truth of the matter is it's not normal and it's never been normal to begin with. Because one of my mottos is if you continue to make excuses for dysfunction, dysfunction will continue. The only way dysfunction is going to stop is if you stop making excuses. That's excuses for it. That's the only way that dysfunction is going to stop. There is no other way. And I was telling somebody that, you remember the movie Lean on Me, right?
Yeah,
Okay, remember when Joe Clark first came into the school, right? They had to meet, they had the meeting and everything. And one of the things I do agree with him is he said if you treat them like animals, that's exactly how they'll behave. And I agree with that. If you treat them like savages, guess how they gonna act? Like savages. Okay, so I'm the type person that go upside people's head with the truth, whether they get mad or not. I have people that get mad at me all the time because I call them out on it. Because see, people don't want you to call them out on their dysfunction. See, people don't want to look at themselves in the mirror because the more they look at themselves in the mirror, deep inside themselves, the more it's gonna hurt because they don't want to face their flaws. They don't want to face it, nor do they want to deal with it or try to do anything to fix it. They're okay with being complacent with themselves. They're okay with being dysfunctional, and they're okay with being in their ways, because the more a person gets older, the more they're going to be set in their ways. You see what I'm saying?
Well, here's
That
my
that
thing. I think I need to shave my underarms. So listen.
yeah.
I was like, did I just see some? Okay, listen. So,
I'm sorry, I had
so
to
here's
laugh.
my thing. I think a lot of people, when you are calling other people out on their bullshit, what I noticed about a lot of people is that that is definitely the worst thing you could do to them when you have your own shit. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying? Like the reason why I try not to call people out on their shit so toughly, like I'm so self-righteous, is because I feel like even if we're talking about a specific thing or a specific response to a behavior that someone is observing, and I don't think that they're responding to it correctly, um, at the end of the day, who is the judge of what's right and wrong for another human being and whether they should respond to it in the way that they do? So I try to, when I see people behave in a certain way or act in a certain way that I disagree with, I feel like at the end of the day, still, who am I to tell them how they should handle the situation? Unless they are in my life closely. Because I can say, all right, the way that you're dealing with this shit, if you want to deal with it that way with another person, then you can do that. But if you're going to be around Soncerae, you're going to handle this a completely different way. To me, it sounds like you are letting any and every one know what you think about them in a critical way. You see what I'm saying? That's how you just came off. That doesn't mean that's who you are. It's just the way that you just explained that. That's how you came off to me.
Right. Okay, let me let me break this down. Okay, now I don't. Okay, first off, I don't believe. See, that's another. I don't believe in being harsh and brash about everything all the time when it comes to the truth, but when necessary, yes. But it's not me judging people, because I'm not a judgmental person. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I'm not a judgmental person, because I do understand that, there's always a reason why people say the things that they say, and there's always a reason why people do the things that they do. I get it. I understand. But at the same time, what I'm saying is, I'm saying that a lot of people are okay. We are dealing with people that are okay with dysfunction. They look at it as if
I
dysfunction
mean,
is,
but that's what I'm saying. Your definition of dysfunction might be different. Like some people, I could look at somebody else's dysfunction and be like, "This shit is dysfunctional as fuck," but then they think that shit normal as hell. You see what I'm saying? Because they
right.
grew up a different way or they come from a different culture or, you know, like I tell people all of the time, if I never met my daughter's father and seen how he was with his parents and his family, I would have thought that the way I grew up was normal. If I never met him and seen how much they love each other and how much they care for each other and how much happiness is inside of his family, I would have thought the way the dysfunction of my own family was how family's supposed to be. So I think a lot of the time when you're looking at somebody else's dysfunction, 9 times out of 10, they don't even realize that that's what that is, you know? So when you call them out on it, they looking at you like, what the fuck you mean I'm dysfunctional? Like, I'm completely sane, you know what I'm saying? Like when a whole bunch of people come into my comment section and they say all of this crazy off the wall shit about me, then tell me I'm the crazy one. I'd be like, don't you think it's crazy as hell that you in somebody's comment section that you don't know, a complete stranger, and you talking about them like they ain't shit, and then got the nerve to call them crazy, and you don't think you crazy at all. Like you don't
Right.
think that that's a little demented at all. And so
Right.
people just think differently.
Right.
And do you think you take that in consideration when you're looking at somebody else and classifying whatever it is that they're doing and saying as dysfunction?
No, I'm not saying that. Well, okay, when I call people out on okay, when I pointed out or when I observe, because I'm an observer, I'm not necessarily saying that the people are just dysfunctional. I'm not saying that they're bad people, but we as a people have been taught, you know, dysfunctional ways. It's not me saying that, you know, you're you are just this dysfunctional person. You're just this bad, evil, person. No, that's not what I'm saying. See, a lot of people get confused with that. What I'm saying is that we've been conditioned throughout history. We have been conditioned to hate ourselves, to not only hate ourselves, but to also hate each other. That's why I told people the other day, read the Willie Lynch letter because everything that you want to know, it's in there. It's absolutely in there.
Okay, listen to this. I can't stand that people still use this Willie Lynch letter shit that no one even knows if it's factual or not. When people use this as like this crutch to why the black community is the way that it is, it bugs the fuck out of me because I feel like we have advanced so much as a people. I mean, our president was just black. We got all of these black wealthy athletes and entertainers and business people and business owners and all types of stuff, and they're black, right? And there are a lot of black families out there. We see people who are still married to black women. Like, for example, LeBron James is still married to a black woman, and Denzel Washington has been married to the same woman since forever. And, I just feel like this whole Willie Lynch thing, when people say that and I disagree with it, they automatically assume that I've been brainwashed and I'm whitewashed. I just feel like that's another excuse. Like we was just talking about excuses. And I feel like when people speak about that Willie Lynch shit, it's an excuse. You don't think that?
No, I don't. Me personally, no. Now you will have people that will try to make excuses. They will, you have some people that will use the Willie Lynch as an excuse. That's true. And as far as
Mhm.
politics go and Barack Obama, I'm not gonna get on Obama. I'm not gonna really say how
I
I
mean,
feel
no,
about
I'm not
Obama.
saying he this brilliant president. I'm just saying
Right.
somebody let him in office. But here's my thing. Let's keep travel back to this women bring nothing to the table in a relationship type of shit. That I still am like, what? So if you feel like the things that we listed, let's see, let me see if I can remember. Support, submission, love, care, nurturing, understanding, right?
Right.
What do you think that men bring to the table?
I
Like, what
think
do you as a man, you specifically as a man, what do you feel like you bring to the table?
right now, well,
What do you mean right now? Like, period.
okay, period. No, 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 no. I just had to make sure, you know what I'm saying, because some people's definitions be different, you know what I'm saying? So I had to make sure. Well, what do I bring to the table? Um, I bring I bring understanding, I bring love, ambition, support, um, I bring care, I bring nurturing, I bring a sense of I would say I do bring a sense of leadership. Um, I bring myself as a positive man, but somebody that's also, you know, somebody that's spiritual because the older I get, the more spiritual I get, when it comes to spirituality. I bring wisdom, I bring knowledge, I bring I don't really talk about myself too much, but I just feel like I could just bring a whole bunch of things to the table. I may not have everything together, right now, but I'm working on getting everything together. You see what I'm saying?
Do you feel like most men bring something to the table inside a relationship? Like, I'm pretty sure you have male friends. Do you feel like your male friends are equipped for a decent relationship or marriage?
Um, to be honest, some do and some don't. And the reason why is because, I'm not gonna lie, I call men out on their shit too. It's not just women. I call men out on the bullshit that they do. You know, you're in this relationship. I don't necessarily agree with cheating, but men, be having they women on the side, especially even when they have good women or perfectly women or phenomenal women, they'll still have that one or two other women on the side, if you get what I'm saying. So, you have men that'll lie, that'll cheat, that'll manipulate, you have men that will do all types of things that they have no business doing. You also have men that will use women because women can be vulnerable, can be very vulnerable. And the more vulnerable the woman gets, the man will take advantage of that. And he
Mm,
will try to really use her as much as he can until he can't use her anymore. And then once that's over, he leaves her and goes to the next one and does the same exact thing.
mm,
So you see what I'm saying? So you have men that be on bullshit too. You also have a lot of men. I've said this before too. You also have a lot of men that talk about polygamy.
mm,
Uh now before I get into polygamy, this is just me personally. I'm not a polygamous person. I'm
mm,
a monogamous person. I'm a monogamous man. And I personally could be with one woman for the rest of my life. That's just me.
mm.
That's just me. But I don't knock people that choose to do polygamy because I'm open minded enough to see where polygamy actually does make sense, especially from a nation building standpoint. But I feel like honestly, polygamy in this day and age is not realistic. Polygamy over,
That's
I'm
the
just being
dumbest
real.
shit I ever heard. Listen to this. So, um, polygamy might have not made sense years ago because marriage was so important and traditional, and everyone was up in marriage, and everyone was like, I gotta be married, and people took marriage more serious when our grandparents were married, and shit like that. Now a lot of people are more comfortable with hooking up, just sleeping with each other on the side and all this, cheating on each other.
Situationships, that's the new norm.
Situationships, polygamy or polyamory or whatever the case is more suitable now than it was back then to me. Now, I'm polyamorous.
Yeah.
Anyone who's been watching my channel, they know that.
Yes.
And the reason why I decided to even do that was because I used to be the monogamous woman. You know what I mean? I used to
Right.
be that woman that was, I'm going to get married. I'm going to be with one dude and fuck the bullshit. And he ain't going to be cheating on me. I ain't going to be cheating on him. We ain't going to be lying to each other. We ain't going to be doing none of that shit. I used to be so hard in relationships. I used to require so much. And every time I was in these relationships, I would get cheated on, period.
Yeah, I
I would get
remember
cheated
you
on. They
started
would lie
saying
to
that.
me. I mean, and they would have some real dark, deep secrets. I'm talking about secrets like uh, stolen identity, money laundering, back child support. One guy I know used to he was still married to another chick and trying to marry me. And I had another guy like create a world around me. Like he had his friends and his family in on convincing me that he was single when really he had a wife and kids at home. But when I would come around his family and friends, they would pretend like he was single too. So after being in so many different situations, and I well, you've been watching, you know about that recent shit that's been going on with me, right?
Right.
So that's how I ended up in that situation, because I was so fed up. Like I had been cheating on so much. I was like, you know what? I need to try something else. And men used to always complain about how I wasn't sexual enough, how I didn't try too much, how I didn't do enough, how
Right.
I didn't want to open up sexually, you know. And I said, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to check into different kinds of relationships. I'm going to open up sexually. And if that shit don't work out, I'm probably just not going to be with anybody for the rest of my life. So I tried having a life partner, right? To where we weren't monogamous, but all I needed him to do was, we was having threesomes. So really all I needed him to do was tell me if he wanted another woman and to not lie to me about it. What this nigga do? Disappeared New Year's Eve. Couldn't find him for 5 days. He didn't show up until January 5th. And I'm looking at him like, where the fuck you been for 5 days? And you know what he says to me? He says to me that he was fucking some chick. And I say, why were you fucking some chick? Because the pussy was there, is what he said. I was looking at him like, you disappeared for 5 days, lied to me on New Year's Eve, been gone all this time, unnecessarily, because you really didn't have to do that because you with a woman that has threesomes with you. To me, that was a level of greed. And then it's when I started working at the swingers club and I started seeing a whole bunch of couples coming in, married couples, single couples, uh, people who were just fucking each other, people who were committed adultery. And I just started seeing just a lot of shit that I can't unsee. And now that I know that it's so many people out there that have so many secrets that they're not telling their partners. Like I seen too many people stab each other in the back. Like I seen it too many times. So now it's like, fuck that. I'll be in a situation with you, like me and you could rock with each other so hard. I mean, we could even be staying together. We could even share a household. We can survive together. But what I'm not going to do is be monogamous to you or put you in a position where you have to lie to me or cheat on me. We could be friends, we could have a situation, but marriage and monogamy, I'm not even going to put you in that situation to have to figure out a way to get out of it or lie to me.
Right.
That's where polyamory came from, because it's more of a responsible thing. Like I think polyamory, people think it's multiple sex partners. It's not even that. It's more of everybody has a respectable friendship and relationship with each other, and everybody knows each other. So for instance, like I said, me and my man used to do threesomes. We used to know the girls we was with. So if he decided to go off with a girl that we've already been with, I wouldn't be surprised, because I know her. I know what's going on with her. She know me. You know what I'm saying? It's no big thing. It isn't the cheating that bugs the fuck out of me. It's the lying. Like if my man goes to the store, he tells me he's going to the store. I want to believe that that's where he at. I don't want to be thinking in the back of my mind, is he really at the store? Or is he just telling me he at the store? Because is he really in some pussy? It got me thinking some, you know what I'm saying?
Uh,
Monogamy sound right in theory. There's no happily ever after in these marriages, like these romantic comedies and these movies, and they showing you how relationships should be and what it look like and all this stuff. That shit is not real. And a lot of people base their relationships off of movies they seen, shows they watched, you know, and thinking that shit real. Marriage is hard for everybody. I'm not saying this because I'm married. I'm saying this because married people tell me this shit. Married people, men and women, tell me marriage is hard as hell.
right. Now, although, okay, I'm gonna talk about marriage first before I get to the other stuff. Okay. Now I used to say all the time I want to get married. I still do, but I'll say marriage. But when I say married, I'll say marriage slash spiritually bonded because I've realized that marriage is not okay in your world. It may be considered love and this or that or whatever, but in reality, marriage is actually a business. Marriage is marriage is marriage. Is a business to where people make money off of it. The courts make money off of it, and I also feel like marriage benefits women more than it does men, which is why you have a lot of men that don't want to get married. You know what I'm saying? And what really helped me understand that was Marvin Gaye's "Hear My Dear" album. I'm a big, if not huge, Marvin Gaye fan. When you listen to that album, you will understand why a lot of men do not want to get married because it's a business. It is a business. You know what I'm saying? Now I'm not
It
saying
is. I mean, you got to sign a contract.
exactly. You have to sign a contract. You know what I'm saying? And for me, it's like now it's like I still want to be I still want to be spiritually bonded because that's what I say now. I'll say marriage slash spiritually bonded. You know what I'm saying? I don't really say marriage anymore because marriage is something that the European made just to basically make money off of. They turn it into a business like everything else is a business. So that's why I don't just say marriage anymore. That's why I put the slash spiritually bonded to it. Okay, now getting back to what you was talking about, I remember your story because like I said, I do watch your videos, and it's like this is just my opinion. Okay, from what I get from you, I feel like the main reason why you're doing it, the whole polygamy thing, this is just me, this is just my opinion. I think you're doing it out of out of fear. I think that's really how you come off as you're basically doing the whole polygamy out of fear. And my
I
point
just
is,
gave you, but I just told you the reason why I did it,
yeah,
and you
yeah, yeah,
still
yeah, yeah.
making up your own reason.
Oh no, 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 no,
I
no,
just
no, no,
told
no.
you why I was doing it. It
Right,
isn't
right, right,
because it's not that I'm afraid. It's I know better now.
right, right,
I
right,
know
right,
better now. You can't hurt me. You see what I'm saying? Like before, it was like okay. For example, spiritual, right? We're talking about spirit.
right,
I'm a very spiritual person.
right,
I let my spirit lead me. I let my heart lead me. I let my soul lead me. And it was my soul and my heart that brought me to that asshole Jap because
right.
I listened to my spirit tell me that he had potential to be better, right?
Uh-huh.
So people send me messages, right? They say, I can tell that nigga Jap broke your spirit,
Hmm.
right? And
Right,
they try to be funny, but they don't realize that that's true
right,
because fuck my feelings being hurt. Fuck, I can get over that, you know? Fuck being afraid to love somebody or be romantic or be in a relationship or
right,
romantic monogamy. That's beneath what I'm talking about.
right,
When I say somebody broke my spirit, that means literally I was connected in a way that I wanted his life to be better. That's a whole nother thing.
right.
Like when you put your spirit into another person or you put
Yeah,
your soul into another person, it's a different bond. And
right.
then when that person breaks it the way that that was broken, um, I think a lot of people don't understand the significance of that. So once your spirit has been broken enough,
Yes.
you can't turn back. It's not like you can rewind and be who you was beforehand. So it wasn't Jap that broke my spirit completely. he pushed me to the point where it's done. You see what I'm saying? Because it had already been broken enough. All I needed was somebody else to push me a little further, and I was gonna fall off the edge because I was already on the edge, holding on. Like, all right, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna put more faith in a man. Just just friendship, not even on a sexual tip, right? I'm just gonna put my faith in a man friendship wise, and I'm gonna hold on to the edge of this cliff, and hopefully, what he gonna do is grab me by the back of my shirt and pull me back,
Hmm.
not push me.
Right.
So he pushed me, and I
And
said,
you
you know
fell.
what? These
Wow.
niggas have been trying to push me off this cliff. So I tell you what, I'm gonna get a parasail, and I ain't never coming back to that cliff. And you ain't got to ever worry about me coming to that motherfucking cliff. You
Right.
feel me? So it's not about fear. I've already been pushed past that. It's about safety. It's about
Right.
knowing better now and knowing where I really want to go in my life. And you got to sometimes realize what kind of person you are to where maybe I'm just not fit for that. Because I kept saying, like, think about this. It's been 5 years since I decided to be open in open relationships. I decided this 5 years ago. This isn't some new revelation here.
Right.
I decided this 5 years ago. So I thought about it and I applied it to my life, and it's working for me, you know? And it doesn't mean that my soul, my feelings can't be hurt,
Right.
but it means that my soul can't be broken anymore. It's done. He pushed me, and that's it. It is a wrap because I can't even be friends, like soul friends with somebody. I could be friends to a certain degree, and I could, support you. I could, help you with a few things, but put my soul into your life, in your project, in your career, in your anything, in your well being, that ain't never happening again because it's broken already. Am I talking your ear off about this? I think so. Let's
No,
move
no,
on to something.
no. My eye was itching. I really had to rub it. No. You're not talking about I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm listening to what you're saying. You're not talking about You know what I'm saying?
You know what's funny? When I talk to people,
Mhm.
they know the story, and the first thing they do is be like, "Girl, I don't even know how you even what you're doing. How did you end up doing that?"
But
So
see,
they think how you think. Like everybody thinks that.
but
You
see,
you just scared, Soncerae. That ain't it. That's not it.
but see.
Can you come up with another analysis? What else do you think it is?
Um. Well, okay. I'm gonna say what else it is. Then I'm gonna go into what I was gonna say. But I think
Okay, well then don't. Just say what you was gonna say. You don't have to tell me.
okay. Okay, I'm gonna just say what I was gonna say. Okay. Well, see, you said you're more cautious, you're more aware, and that's what I was trying. For me, it's the same thing. I realized that for me, in order to have, like I said, a successful, happy, healthy relationship, understanding is the core. That's what I'm saying. I've
We've
realized that.
already established that. Why
Yeah,
are
yeah,
you
yeah,
saying
yeah,
it
yeah, yeah.
again?
I know, and but like you said, how you took whatever it is you learned and you applied it to your everyday life. Like now, that's the same thing that happened to me, and I applied it to my everyday life now. I do not accept just. I'm not the type person to just accept anything.
Right.
Well. To be honest, I never really was, but at the same time, things do happen in life. And you tend to go through things. Things happen. But I also wanted to say that what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Well, okay. I don't. Okay, the monogamous thing. For me, like I said, I'm monogamous, but I don't try to force. My thing is this: I'm not the type person that's going to force monogamy on you, but at the same time, I don't like when people try to force polygamy upon me.
Ooh, someone has done that to you?
Well, not necessarily, but you do have some people that will see it like polygamy is the only way to go. There is no other way to go about it. Everyone
I
should
have
be polygamous.
I have yet to meet anybody like that.
Well,
I
when
have
it comes
yet
to
to
the
meet
so-called conscious community, you will have some people that are like that.
the
I'm just
conscious
saying.
community.
The so-called some people in the so-called conscious community. I would just leave it at that. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I mean, I consider myself a conscious pro-black man, but some of the stuff that these other people saying just flat out ridiculous. I'm like polygamy. They'd be like polygamy was the only thing that our ancestors practiced. I'm like, no, that's not the only thing they practice. They practice monogamy too. You know what I'm saying? Polygamy was not the only thing that our ancestors practiced. I'm like, just stop, please. Like, why you gotta do that? You know what I'm saying? But some people in the so-called conscious community really truly believe that polygamy is the only way. When they don't even have the economic structure. How are you going to talk about? My thing is, how are you going to talk about polygamy when you don't even have the economic structure? You have a lot of people now that don't want to take care of their kids. You see what I'm saying? So how is you know the whole polygamy thing? I feel like it's just you have people that's just they minds just ain't right. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is not parent material. You know, every father is not father material, and every mother is not mother material. So I feel like
I don't think. Listen, I know some women, some people that have grown up with parents who were polygamous,
right,
and they turned out just fine. Just because their parents were polygamous doesn't mean that they ended up being that way. Just
right,
means that's how they grew up, so they should just accept it. So I don't think that can make or break whether a family is a happy family or not.
right,
You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of people believe that. But to me, most of the people that I've met who are poly in general, whatever their you know, whatever kind of poly they are, they rarely force it on people. Like I've never heard that because we do usually people who poly are real independent and we think independently. So that means we respect other people who think independently.
right,
Usually someone who is really really poly, they're not going to try to force it on someone else
right.
because we think independently and we respect independent thinkers. So I really think that when you talk about the conscious community, because as I'm watching these conscious people inside of that community, I haven't heard a lot of them talk about polyamory or polygamy. I've heard some talk about it, but not to the degree where they're saying it's a better way of living. Like who said that specifically? Like, can you name anybody on YouTube who has said that specifically so I can go see?
Well, I put it like this. I'm in groups and I'm in, conscious groups on Facebook and, you know, one of the main groups that I'm in, well, I've been trying to leave that group, but every time I try to leave that group, they always add me back in that group. I don't know why, but they always the group is called Every Black Person Should Be Conscious, which I do agree with. But um you have people in that group, man, that's just it's just full of hatred. I'm gonna just put it like that. The group is just full of hatred, and that's the main reason why I left the group or why I tried to leave. Every time I try to leave, it'll always add me back in. I'm like, why y'all keep? It's just ridiculous. So you have some people that will try to force polygamy on other people, and I think that's ridiculous. Me personally.
Yeah, I think that's ridiculous too. I would like if a person is monogamous, I'm be like, yo, if that works for you, knock yourself out. If it works, if it don't, like I'm not gonna tell somebody to do but you know what? It's not just that. I mean, a lot of people try to convince a lot of people to do a lot of things. Like
Right.
everybody, what I noticed about people is in order for a person to feel comfortable about what they believe or what they think, they gotta get a shitload of other people agreeing with them.
Right.
In order for the it's like they need that validation. They need that validation of a group of people behind them in order for them to feel like what they saying about their life is suitable for them. For me, I'm not a popular opinion person. I don't do the trends. I don't give a fuck what everybody else wants to do. I'm not gonna follow the mode just so I can get people to like me and shit. No, I just do what I want to do. I do what feels comfortable for me.
Right.
And out of all of the mistakes I have made as a woman, and out of all of the experiences I done had because of those mistakes, or how many experiences that I've had because of how I grew up, or excuse me, I think the biggest mistake I've made is not making poor choices in men or um, misreading men. It's been my biggest thing is letting my kindness guide me. Because my mother used to tell me when I was younger, my mother used to be like, and she still tells me this to this day. She used to always say, "You are so bad at choosing friends. You are too nice and you try to see good in everybody. And you can't do that."
No,
And
you
she would
can't.
say that to me over and over and
No, you
over and
can't.
over. And I was
I
like,
say the same thing.
why can't I put on rose colored glasses and see the world positively? Because that's what I want.
Right. Because you're going to have people, like I said, I think I might have said this earlier, maybe I didn't. But truth of the matter is, there are going to be people that you just cannot save. You know,
I know.
there are
It's
going to
true.
be. You cannot. I say this all the time because it's true. You cannot help or save people that are not willing to help or save themselves. That's like basically telling a drug addict to get off drugs. If that drug addict does not want to get off the drugs for his or herself, they're not going to want to get off the drugs for you or for anybody else. That's just the reality. I believe people choose their own fate. You know, I do believe we all have a destiny, and I also believe that people choose their own fate. And I believe that once you choose your fate, it's nobody else's fault but yours. You choose nobody else chooses your fate but you. You see what I'm saying? And that's what I believe in. You know what I'm saying? Because once you choose that fate, that's yeah, like every time when you do those drugs, every time when you snort that coke or put that needle in your vein, you are making a choice. You are choosing your fate.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or every time, you know, when you refuse to put the bottle down, I mean you gotta always drink something all the time. You are choosing your fate. And I've had family members that have chose their fate, which is why they're in cemeteries now. Okay, this is a reality, not a fantasy land. But we are dealing with a people that would rather use emotionalism before they use logic, before they use critical thinking, before they use some type of reasoning. You know, a lot of people would rather be emotional. They would rather be emotional before before they would be logical, be rational, and be realistic.
I think being logical is not easy for some people because logic is something intellectual people or educated people usually are, skilled at. I don't think all people can do that, especially in the black community, because I don't think most of the people in the black community are educated. Logic comes with you being taught how to be logical.
Right.
I don't think that logic is something that you grow with.
Right. 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 Right.
Like
Right.
for example, here's this funny part about me. All right, so when I was born, right, my aunt and uncle used to watch me all the time for my mother.
Right.
And my aunt and uncle were married, right? And
Mm.
they had two kids of their own. And they trained their kids from the time their kids was young to be geniuses, right? Used to make them read the newspaper when they were really young. Like they had them reading and learning straight out the womb, basically. And so both of my cousins, they're both successful. I mean, my cousin Tavares, he's into computer engineering, and my cousin Kanitra, she works for PBS, and she just got an Emmy last year for this show she does on PBS. And the reason why the both of them are so successful is because of my aunt and uncle. But the rest of my family who wasn't raised by them, they don't have that same intellect and logic. So as I'm being once I stepped away from my aunt and uncle and started living my life without them, because I had to been like 4 or 5 when I stopped seeing them as much. I start being awkward, like not fitting in with anybody else in my intermediate family because they had been teaching me logic all of that time. And I started being around a whole bunch of emotional people. So I didn't fit in. So I was the only nerd. I was the one with the glasses. I was the one who ended up getting into computer engineering. I was the one that was always about learning and education, and nobody else in my family, in intermediate family, was like that. So it's to me, I would fit more better. I would fit in with my cousins and my aunt and uncle because they kind of raised me in the beginning stages. So my thing is, in order for people to be logical, they have to learn that shit straight out the womb.
Right.
And I
Right.
think people are teaching their children straight out the womb. They're teaching them emotions first. They're not teaching them logic.
Right. 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 Right.
Yeah.
And that's what I was going to get to next. They're not being taught that. Now, mind you, I myself am okay. I'm balanced. I'm both logical and emotional. Okay, I'm emotional by nature, but I'm also logical. I grew up with two parents in the home. You know what I'm saying? I had a mom and a dad, still do. They've been married for a long time. They still married to this day. You know what I'm saying? Um, so I've gotten to see what it's like to have both parents in the home. And having both parents in the home could be very effective. We could be very, if not highly effective, because you need both that masculine and feminine energy, you know, in order to have and raise balanced children.
That's true.
Because I myself am balanced. I'm emotional by nature, but I'm also logical. I'm also logical and rational, and I use critical thinking when it's time to do that. But like you said, like I was going to say, a lot of people aren't taught how to be logical or rational or how to use critical thinking. And that's the problem that we have within, the black community. That's one of the main reasons why we as a people cannot come together and can't unite because of that. You see what I'm saying? Because they have been taught how to use their emotions before they have been taught how to use logic and critical thinking.
Well, let me tell you what destroyed my logic for a
Hmm.
little while.
Uh-huh.
My stepfather molesting me. When my stepfather started molesting me and my family was verbally and physically abusing me, um, I turned real quiet. Like I was a quiet kid. Like if I was around, you wouldn't even know because I would be sitting there and not saying shit. So I'd just be sitting there with my book and my glasses, saying nothing. And I was like that for a long time. I didn't start being like verbal like this to where I'm opinionated like this. I didn't start being like that till I was like 22. I had never been like that all my life basically, because my stepfather had taught me that if I ever tell secrets, that everyone would think I was a liar. But the reason why he was telling me that is because he was molesting me and he didn't want me to tell anyone. So he said if I ever told anybody the truth, everyone will always think I was a liar. That's what he said. So for a long time, and he molested me for many years, and I didn't tell anyone for a long time. And when I turned 22, my yeah, I moved to Atlanta, right? I turned 22, 21, 22. I was on some fuck this shit. Okay. And everything was about emotion. You say something wrong to me, I'm slapping the shit out you. You made me feel some kind of way, I'm slapping the shit out you. You take something from me that belongs to me that shouldn't even be in your hands, I'm slapping the shit out you. And that's some straight emotional shit. And if all of that physical abuse and stuff that happened to me when I was younger never happened, I probably wouldn't have started being emotional at all. But I had my emotional moment. I went from being emotional like that from the time I was like 22 to about 33. 33 is when I said, you know what? I don't think I want to do, yeah, I don't think I want to do this uh, emotional shit. No, 30. 30. Because that's when I stopped being in relationships. I'm 36. I stopped being in relationships when I was 30. So I cut out all the emotion and decided to be logical about everything. And so far it's working out.
Yeah, it has. I remember you would talk about your experiences of rape and molestation, which is another problem that we have that we need to. I feel as though we really do need to talk about more often. That we really do need to bring out to the forefront because so many of our women, along with the men, are damaged from this. And I feel like we need to really heal from that, along with many other things that I feel we as Black people really truly need to heal from.
I think
I,
I think that a lot of people consider that a sob story, not really a crocodile's tear story. It's a lot of because people, the black community brushes molestation under the rug.
they do. Truth be told, the Black community push sweeps a lot of stuff under the rug that we should not be sweeping under the rug at all. Because see, here's my thing: society has taught us. I want to say men specifically. Um, Society has taught men or people period how you're basically supposed to be robots, like you're not supposed to be human. It's not okay for you to be human. I say all the time, society's rules and standards are inhumane. Society's rules and standards go everything against humanity as a whole. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, people have been really conditioned to expect you to act like a robot, to be a
Mm-hmm.
robot. They don't expect for you to be human. They don't expect for you to have feelings or whatever the case may be. They just expect for you to be this robot that just has no feelings, no emotions at all, or any of that. And that's the problem. You have people that are all they're worried about is themselves. They're not worried about anybody else. They're not worried about anybody else that's around them because they're so focused on themselves. They're so wrapped up around themselves. You know, they're not they're not taught to care about other people. They're not taught to consider that other people go through things just like how they go through things. So
And
it's a whole lot of things that play into it. But I feel like we have been taught, society has taught people how to basically be robots, and it goes everything society contradicts itself. It contradicts itself constantly. It just like I said, it's society's rules and standards go everything against humanity as a whole. It's inhumane.
Hmm.
So that's why we have a people that's not really emotional. That's not really. I feel like more people should be more emotional, but like I said,
I
a
don't.
lot of
I
people,
don't feel like a lot. I don't feel like people aren't emotional. I feel like they're pretending they aren't.
right?
And you know
That
what?
too. That
But but then again, it's too many men. Like I look on YouTube and I hear men complaining and bitching about black women and shit. To me, that's emotional.
hmm
Like that's emotion.
right.
And it could be anger. It could be to me, anger ain't nothing but sadness. Like you know how they say, love is friendship on fire.
Right.
To me, anger is sadness on fire. So when I see somebody
Mm.
bitching and complaining about black women or saying that they, hate a certain sector of people or a group of people, that's sadness to me that they're
Honestly,
trying to cover up.
it really truly is. It really truly is. Sadness on fire. I never heard of that before, but it actually makes a whole lot of sense. And I also want to say men have been taught to think that being angry is the only being angry is the more manly emotion. Like you can't be anything else but angry. You know what I'm saying? It's the only a manly emotion that men can have. Men are not allowed to have any other emotion but anger because it's considered manly. Any other emotion besides that is considered not manly. You get it? You get what I'm saying?
Yes. What
So
about happiness? Is happiness a feminine thing or what?
it's not. It's not. But you have people that think like that. You have people. You have some people that do think happy is feminine, and to me that does not make any sense. It does not correlate to how you are as a human being. You know, truth of the matter is, people love misery. Misery brings company, or misery loves company. And you have people that just, you know what I'm saying, they just, they feel like having misery in their life is the only way, to get through.
Do you have a YouTube account?
Um, Actually, as a matter of fact, I do.
Okay, so if you go onto my channel and you look up Women Bring Nothing to the Table in Relationships Part 2, if you click on that video, you will be able to see the chat next to us talking. And I want you to read the stuff that people are saying because I just burst out and started laughing because Chris said black ratchet women make my stomach hurt. So you were talking and I just laughed. I know you was like, what the fuck is she laughing at? But
Yeah.
it's because I'm looking at the chat at the
Right,
same
right, right.
time.
I know there's a chat. I don't know what people are saying. I
That's what I'm
actually,
saying. If you want to go see it,
right,
go log on to YouTube and log on to our video, and you can see the chat next to our video.
right, 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 right.
And then you can answer in it if you want to, because they talked about you in here somewhere at the top, I think.
I don't know what
But
they said, but
here's the thing. Oh, and in our first video, they was like, "This nigga done lost his mind." It's like this nigga crazy. So okay, but do you feel like we had an effective conversation? Because I'm gonna go eat and go to sleep. You feel
I
like
feel,
this was a good enough conversation?
I feel like it was a good conversation. I enjoyed it. Again, I don't know what people said, but they
Oh.
probably thought I was crazy because they probably didn't give me a chance to really understand. Display. I don't know if they stayed through the whole thing to really have me explain and break down things, but
Oh no, from the first, the first video is different. It's because it's separate. It's two different streams.
right,
But I try to explain to everybody, don't take nothing anybody say on YouTube serious. Like
right.
don't don't bother with it because you never know who you're talking to. You could be talking to a 17-year-old teenager and you think you're talking to an adult and you're not. So
Right.
you
And
never know who you're
those
talking
type
to.
of people I don't take because you do have 17 or younger people that will say stuff when they don't have anything or don't have a clue about what life is or what life is all about because they ain't never really had to go through nothing or you know what I'm saying? Well, let me not say that. But I mean, let me not
Wait,
say that.
stop. Wait a minute, stop. Chris, what do you think about Tariq getting sodomized by the Fox News reporter? Did you see that?
No, no, I didn't see that.
I'll probably talk about that tomorrow, but because I haven't seen it, I saw that it happened, but I haven't looked at it yet.
Right.
So I think I'm going to probably talk about that tomorrow. Okay, anyway, go ahead.
No, 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 no. What was I saying? Oh, I thought the conversation was good overall. But like I was saying, yeah, you just have young people that just be talking and they don't know what they be talking about. You know what I'm saying, half the time. So
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't take it seriously. I look at it like this. It is what it is. You know what I'm saying? There's gonna be people that agree with you. There's gonna be people that don't. And I'm the type of person to where I don't have a problem with people disagreeing with me. Just be respectful about it. That's all I ask. I don't really ask anything else. But
Yeah,
just
yeah. I try to ask that, but I'm disrespected a lot because of my race and because of my gender, and because people feel like who I used to be, because I used to be a model. They feel like because I
right,
was a model, that means it's okay to disrespect me. But you know what? A person who
right,
respects themselves is not gonna just flat out disrespect another person because they
right,
want respect themselves because they respect themselves so much. So
right,
they're not gonna wanna do something like that to another human
right,
being.
right, right,
And so I just realized that a lot of people who are disrespectful, they are a lot more hurt and angry than I am because I'm not gonna go out my way to be trolling nobody. I ain't got time for that.
right,
I got some other
right,
shit I need to be trying to handle. You feel what I'm
right,
saying?
right.